Alright, hi guys, this is my Springfest Seraph Snow deck list, and I will be showing you how it works and why I run certain cards. So, my ride lane is up here if you would like to look at it. So first off, I run 4 of the grade 4 Seraph Purelights. Its skill allows you to, when placed, counterblast 1 and soul blast a Seraph card from Soul, and you imprison 2 from hand, 2 from soul, and 2 from the field, which is very overpowered, especially when it's late game and you're trying to swing for game. Second off, I run 2 Perio Turquoise, and this one's skill is when there's 2 or more imprisoned, this gets 5,000, and your opponent's rear guards get, or when a card is placed from imprison, it gets 2,000 or loses 5,000. I run 2 Aggro Rogue. Its skill is Soul Blast 1 and imprison a front row rear guard, and it gets 5,000 and 5,000 power and 10,000 guard for when there's 2 or more in prison. I run 2 Macarites since I cannot get my hands on 2 more. And this one's skill is Soul Blast 1 and imprison the top card from my opponent's deck. If there's 2 or more in prison, this gets 5,000 power for the rest of the turn. I run 2 Dairy Violets. It's good for countering any grade 2 deck, and this allows you to not get hit by any grade 2s for the rest of a battle. I run 2 Cuff Springs. It's great for mirror matches since it's just an imprison card, and it has no cost. But the bad part is that your opponent gets to draw a card. I run 3 Gleamers since there wasn't enough room for the 4th one. And this one's skill is it allows you to call 1 from deck. And if your Vanguard is a Seraph card, it gets a 5,000 power. I run 2 of this, and this lets you Soul Charge 3 or Counterblast, yeah, Counter Charge 3 and Soul Charge 3. I run 2 Cheval Stud. This has been a good card since set 1. And it Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1, and you imprison a card from your opponent's rearguard, and you draw a card if there's 5 or more. Or 3 or more in prison, sorry. Wrong card. I run 2 Violate Dragons and 2 of the normal Perfect Guards since I cannot get 2 more Violates yet. It's a great card, and I love it. I run 2 copies of 24-hour coverage, and this card allows you to imprison a card from your opponent's hand if it has 4 or more, and if there's 3 or more in your opponent's hand after, a card on your field gets 5,000 power. This card, you Soul Blast 2, and you imprison all back row rear guards. It's great going against Magnolia, which is why I run 2. I run 1 Galactolus since you only need to run 1. I would have run 2 if it weren't for this card's skill to Soul Charge 3, which is great. 1 over trigger, since you can only run 1 over trigger. Its skill allows you to double the effect, or double the power and criticals of all your front row. I run 8 criticals in this deck, since I love getting as much damage in my opponent as possible. My personal favorite thing to do. I run 4 heal triggers, since you can't go wrong with heal triggers, and 3 draw triggers, which is this one's skill allows you to give it another 5,000 guard if your Vanguard's both your Vanguards are grade 3. And I will try to teach some combos in just 1 second. Alright, so this is what I'd like to see in my hand first turn. I'd like to see Seraph Purelight, so I know that I'd have one fourth turn. Macarite, Cuff Spring, Suppress Gleamer, and a discard card. And for that, I'd discard this for Kyanite Blue, and then her skill would go off to get me Galactolus. You'd play that. Rest, Soul Charge 3. Then, your opponent's turn, you take a damage. Then, stand, do your draw, discard for ride. And this is where I personally like to start going off. And if you're, this is the perfect hand for going first. So you can, if your opponent has no back row, you can call these two. I personally like to call Cuff Spring first to get them to discard a card from their hand. Then, if you don't want to rush completely first turn, you can just keep the Macarite in your hand. Then swing, drive check. This is a great card to have in your hand, in my opinion. Then, swing with rear guard, damage, and this turn is where you start wanting to start imprisoning stuff. Call Seraph Snow. Then, let me grab some cards. Let's just say that this is the imprison. There's currently 2 in prison. Opponent has full board, or 2 or 3 cards on board. You'd call Macarite, Soul Blast 1 to imprison 1 from hand, or imprison the top card from your opponent's deck. Then, get 1 more imprison. Play, if they have 5 or more cards in hand, or 4 or more, imprison 24-hour coverage. This skill allows you to Soul Blast 1, then imprison another card from hand, then counterblast 1 for Seraph Snow's skill. And by the way, you get 5,000 for 24-hour coverage. You get 2 more from Seraph Snow's skill. So you're currently at 6 imprisoned. And you can continue your combos with Gleamer by getting a Gleamer from your deck. Then do your drive checks. No triggers there, which is no good. Then just take a damage, draw, play. This is where you start killing your opponent. It should be in drop. You counterblast 1 and Soul Blast and Seraph card. 2, imprison 2 from rear, 2 from soul, and 2 from your opponent's hand. So that right there, if they don't take out of prison, that right there would be 12 cards. That's 30,000 to front row and an extra crit. So this right there would be game. And that's how I like to play my Seraph Snow deck. Thank you guys for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe, and see you guys later.